Hey everyone, Sim Farmer here and welcome back to Dark Forest for the next episode in our Let's Play series. So I've got our 2 pallets of eggs, although one's not completely full. Our pallets of lettuce, and I've thrown on some of the shorter offcuts we've got from the trees. So some of these are up to the 6 meters we could pick up by hand. So I've thrown all these onto our trailer and we're going to head up to the sell everything container to get these sold. The reason being is we need a little bit of money so we can actually get the next load of trees that we've got cut loaded up. So at the moment we can't even afford a 6 meter container as we've only got $2,776. So I'm hoping this money should bring us more than enough to get another 40-foot container. Then we can load up all the 12 meter logs we've got cut over by the tree harvester there, and then get those sold, and that should give us a nice amount of money then to get some other stuff done. I estimate we should get around about $12,000 for the eggs and the pallets of lettuce. I'm not sure how much we'll get for the little bits of wood. Possibly another couple of $1,000. So we'll get the eggs and lettuce sold first. They're above 10,000, 12, 13, 14. So $11,635 for the lettuce and eggs, which is not too bad. And then another $2,449 for the offcuts of wood. So we're up to $16,862, which gives us more than enough money to get another 40-foot container, which I'll buy now. Then we'll get back to the farm and get the 12 meter logs that we cut last time loaded up, and then we can get those sold as well. One other thing I did as well since the end of the last episode was to clear all the hay bales out the way, just so we've got the clear space then to get the sheep pasture built, or at least mark out where the sheep pasture is going to go, so I know which area we can then plough up for the grass field. And as I've actually done that, I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on where I'm going to put the sheep pasture. Only slightly. I just think it would work better in a different place to where I originally was going to put it. But we can hopefully have a look at that a bit later in this episode. So we'll get that switched off and open these doors up. So we've got this stack of 12 meters that we cut last time, and I think there may just about be enough there to fill this container. If not, we may have to just cut down a few more trees just to fill it up if need be. Well, that's not too much of an issue. And then we've got the 6 meters. Got a few 6 meters over there, and then we've got the ones by the silo as well. So I'm hoping this will make loading or lifting the logs a little bit easier, as we can just get straight underneath them. So yeah, we'll get this container fully loaded up, and then we'll get this one sold. I don't think it's worth buying a 6 meter container or 20-foot container just yet, because I don't think we've got enough to fill that. But this container will give us enough to get the sheep pasture. I don't think it'll give us enough to also do the fencing around it, but as long as I can put the pasture down first, then I know where it's going to come to, and then I know what area I can plough the field up to. So we could then possibly get the field ploughed, get the stones removed and put in the stone crusher to produce a bit more lime, and then hopefully get some lime spread on it as well. And then that should be ready for planting up with grass in the spring. Yeah, it was doing okay. So this log grab does have the strap on, but it doesn't cover all the logs in the grab, which is a little bit annoying. Right, last few logs to go in. We may just about have enough to fill this container. There's a slight gap there, and we've got one 12 meter left. It's a little bit tricky trying to pick up the last log in here because the log grab hooks over the actual centre bar on the stand. Let's try and drag it back a little bit first, so then we can pick it up a bit better. So we'll get this one in, then we'll get this container up to the store and get this one sold. We'll get this 40-foot container sold, and then we'll buy one more. I'm not sure if we'll fill that one just yet. It depends on if we do need to clear a few more trees to get the sheep pasture in. I'm going to have a look at, because I've slightly changed my mind from where I want to put it, or where I was planning on putting it. That's $36,614 for that container. They're up to $47,952, which is more than enough for the sheep pasture now, and should be enough to get some fencing around it as well. And it may give us a little bit of money as well to try and get a few sheep to get us started. I don't think it'll get us many. But yeah, we'll get another 40-foot container, and then we'll head back, and then I'll try and decide exactly where I'm going to put the sheep pasture. Say I've slightly changed my plans, and then we may need to cut down a few more trees just to open up a slightly larger gap for that. Okay, so I've had a look where I'm going to put the sheep pasture, and it's more in this clearing up here. So going at the back of the two silos in this area, that'll keep the area down that way free for a larger field, and the sheep pasture won't be cutting into that too much. So we'll drop this off here, so it's out the way, ready to be loaded up. And we'll go and grab the plough on the back of here. And what we'll do, I'll build the sheep pasture so we know where it actually comes to, and then we can get the grass field ploughed in. We'll then need to go round with the stone picker to pick up all the stones, and then we'll put that through the crusher to get some lime. Actually, I don't think we really need to put the sheep pasture in first. So the one I'm going to use for the sheep is from the ranch extension set by Elk Mountain Modding. This is part of the ranch set. I'm thinking of putting it somewhere over here in this clearing, and then it holds 100 sheep, which is not a huge amount, but it's also a decent amount of sheep. 100 sheep is like plenty for producing enough more for a spinnery at least. So I'm thinking if we go somewhere over here, I'm probably just going to drop that in there so I know where it is, and then we'll use this area coming up to the side of that down there. We'll plough in a field. I won't come too close to this area. I may need to put a shed or something in there. So what I also wanted to do as well was change this track so it wasn't quite so straight. So really mark that out so I know where we're going. I think that should be a nice width for the track. This is going to want to think. Well, basically what I want to do is bring it away so it wasn't so close to the house and have a bit more of a gap. So probably bring it over here somewhere. Actually, if I just go, I do what I do, 270 just to get it straight to start with. I'm thinking if we come off maybe a bit further over or here. Yeah, I think that should do. And then if we come up to around about there and then gently curve that over, meeting up with that track there. I'm just going to paint that in with dirt texture as well. And what I'll do is I'll bring that round a bit so that connects up with there. So that'll be our new kind of entrance into the farm. I really could do doing a bit more work, putting some of the bushes and plants around just to get rid of this, but it just costs money every time you put these down. And then eventually what we'll do, we'll put a bit of grass in between so it's like a proper track, or even come back in later with some gravel, make it like a nice gravel track. I'm a bit limited on ground textures on this map, which is a bit of a shame, especially when there's some really nice textures now on quite a few other maps. Would be nice to have a few more. I don't know how easy it is to add extra textures to a map. It may be something I'll have a look at doing at some point. So if we start down this end, I don't want to come too close to the road or the track as well. I want to leave a decent margin, so that eventually we'll put a fence around alongside the edge of the track and the road, just to fence it off a little bit. Well, I think if we come around about there for the edge of the field, try and keep that distance from the track and the trees, and then we'll get this new field ploughed in. Okay, so that's the outline of the field. I've left quite a bit of room down that side as well, just so we can have a bit more space, possibly if we need to widen the track. And the main reason for moving that track over as well was eventually I want to upgrade the farmhouse to a larger one, so it just gives us a little bit more room in the future to do that, rather than having to take away some of the field and change things around. So it gives us a little bit more room for expansion in the future. So it's not a huge grass field, but as it'll be a proper field that we can fertilise, and we'll get a much higher yield off it than we was getting from the grass we were cutting before. And we're getting a decent amount of hay bale, so we should get more than plenty for now to keep us going. And eventually what we'll do, if we do start to need more grass, once we clear more that way, we could also get another grass field in the other side of the sheep pasture. And we've also got room to get a second sheep pasture next to that one if need be as well in the future, so we can get even more sheep on the farm. Okay, last little bit of ploughing to do, and then that's our new grass field created. So next job will be to go around and remove all the stones, get those into the stone crusher so we can get a little bit more lime. We probably do have enough lime left in this spreader to do this field. But it can't hurt to get a little bit more. So we'll get The crate field's turned off, so when I lower it down it doesn't blow in a patch somewhere. And we'll just get this drop down out of the way over here. And we'll get that disconnected. Actually, we'll leave that there for a minute because we'll need the skid steer. We do have the wheel loader now, so I could actually move the stone crusher. It's kind of just been left where we dumped it. But we don't have the forks. They're over at the store. So yeah. Actually, I just want to tidy that little bit up there on the edge of that field. So we just go plant, and doesn't really matter as long as we can see the brush. Just tidy that up a little bit, and I'll do that bit there as well. Yeah, so next job, the stones. So if we get in the skid steer, stone pickers there, and we'll get all these stones picked up. I said last time, I don't think we can actually plant grass in December. Yeah, just 1 month slightly out, so we'll have to wait until March before we can sow it with grass. So that'll be a job in spring, but if we can get it all prepped so we can get the lime on, get all the stones removed, that's ready to then be planted in March, so we can get straight on with that. That can then start growing for the summer when we can get a cut of hay. So we'll be able to top up our hay bales. We'll get that switched on and lowered down. And yeah, I'll go around. It's one of those not exciting jobs to watch. But I'll go around and get all these stones cleared up. We'll need to get the trailer because this doesn't quite reach the stone crusher to unload into. So I'll have to do the same as last time and put the trailer next to it so I can drive up the ramp on the trailer to reach over to the stone crusher. Okay, last few stones to pick up. I've got, was it 2,000 litres in total? Seemed a little bit less than we got last time. I'm pretty sure we've cleared the entire field. We'll just double check on here. There's one tiny little bit right on the tip of the field there, which might be able to see. Or do just switch that back on and go over, because I can't actually see anything there. Oh, there, just a tiny little bit there on the edge. Now I will try and get this again. I just don't think we can get the height to pick up the trigger on this. Yeah, it's not high enough, so we'll go and grab the trailer. I was going to say grab the trailer that's got the container on. Actually, what we'll do, because we've got the container on, I don't want to take the container off to put it back on. We'll just get that disconnected. We'll leave that there because we should have enough lime in the lime spreader anyway. So we don't need to crush the stones just yet. So we can leave that until another time when we've got the trailer clear. Actually, there's another lump there. Just spotted. I didn't see that show up on here. Oh yeah, I can just see that tiny red dot just there on the edge of the field. Yeah, so we'll get that one. I'll get that cleared, and then we'll get the spreader hooked up, and we can get the lime spread on that field. So that's that job done then until March, when we can come in and plant the grass. Also the grass seed, but at least we've got that field marked out so we know where it's going to be. We've got the sheep pasture built as well. We'll have a look to see how much it's going to cost to put the fences round. As I think I mentioned last time, there's no real need for fencing. The sheep aren't going to run away, but I think it does look a bit stupid having a completely open pasture. Because in real life, sheep would not just stay in that designated area. They'd be off here, there and everywhere through the trees, and we'd be constantly going off trying to round them up. You never know, maybe one day in FS we'll see a sheepdog. We have to use the sheepdog to actually herd your sheep into different pens. Who knows? So we have 2,972 litres of lime in here, which with this spreader in particular, it does go a long way. So we should be able to do this entire field without running out. But we do have those stones that we can get a little bit more lime if need be. And what I probably would do if we do need to do that is go and get the forks from the store for the wheel loader and then just lift that container off the trailer. And while it's empty, it'll be easy to do. And we can just drop it back on when we need it. Well, yeah, we'll get the lime spread on here and we'll have a look again the fences around the pasture. As I said before, I'm just going to do around the blue area, then we can remove that. But at some point in the future, I may just expand the fencing a little bit more, just so it looks like there's a bit more space in there than there, like for the sheep, than there is. Okay, last little bit of lime to do. I still think this lime spreader, the consumption of lime is way too low. I mean, it's great that it lasts so long, but we've barely used anything on that field, which, yeah, it's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit too low of a consumption rate. But that's another job done, and so that's that field all sorted now until March. We drop this back in here somewhere. It's not the easiest of shed to maneuver implements in, especially when you've got dual wheels on the tractor as well. Just make it a little bit tricky. And if we just drop this in this bay here. So yeah, we'll get the fences put around the pasture now, and then when we've done that we can just select here and activate placement marker and get rid of that. To also get rid of that signpost as well. So we've got the water trough here, so we'll need to get some water. Water, yeah, for 100 sheep the 6,000 litres of food and only 4,500 litres of water seems a bit low as well. So yeah, we'll get some fencing around that, and then we can buy a few sheep. We'll give them some hay and some water. So we go back into build mode, and we'll go decoration, go fences. This is the one I usually use, but I'm going to have a quick look, see if there's anything else I like the look of a little bit more. Some of these ones are getting a bit too expensive now. And most of these are now gates. So I think I may just have a quick look on Mod Hub to see if there's something else other than using this one, which is what I usually use. If not, we'll just go with this one. It's the cheapest one. Okay, so I've just had a quick look through Mod Hub, and the only other one I can find was the split wood fence by Mac Trucker, if I can actually find it now. So this the split rail wooden fence and gates by Mac Trucker 921. It's more of a like a log post and then round fence section. It's a little bit more expensive than the base game options, but it's something a little bit different. I think the spawn, the wall pallets spawn here, and then we've got the feed trough and the water trough there. So if we try and get that as close to that as we can, yeah, that's quite good. It's letting me place that. right down. Then we'll go this way. Get as close to the blue as we can, slightly over. I just realised how much that's actually cost. 6,000 for that one run. Yeah, as I said, the pasture itself is not particularly expensive, but putting down all the fencing is. What we'll do, we'll put that one to there. We'll go across there a little bit. Slight angle. That kind of in line. Try and even that out a little bit. Then we'll just fill in that gap there. And I think that'll do. Technically we don't need to put a gate in because we can do that. So we'll leave that because we've just pretty much spent all our money on just fencing. This is pretty much why sometimes I don't bother putting too many fences in, because it just costs so much unless you're using the free fencing mod. So we can get rid of this now. And there's our new sheep pasture. So we can have up to 100 sheep in here. I would say we'll buy as many as we can afford. I'm not going to get the animal transport trailer because it'll be too expensive. If we go for... We'll go for the Swiss black brown mountain ones. So yeah, 60 would cost us 32,333, but the transport fee is only 3,000 for that many, and it'll cost us far more for the transport trailer. And we're not going to be selling any sheep, so we don't need to take them anywhere to sell them. So at the moment, we'll get as many as we can, which is going to be 10 sheep, 5,300. Yeah, we can just about afford 10 sheep. So there's our first 10 sheep on the farm. We'll get us started with some wool production. So we'll give these a bale of hay, and then we'll get some water into their little water trough. Now the rest of the landscaping, I'm going to have to wait until we've got a bit more money, because we have literally got $4 left. So I think we may need to do another load of trees just to get a bit more money in the bank. So if we can use a skid steer to get the hay. I mean, the only one good thing about the feed trough is, especially with the animal pastures where they take bales, is you can just leave a bale in the trigger and it'll just take from the bale as and when it needs it. Unfortunately with the chickens, with only having 1,000 litres, we do need to constantly make sure we keep that topped up. Here you go, sheep. Some hay. You can tell me now that... Oh, there we go. I really thought then the pasture wasn't going to take the bale. So let's just check in here. We've got... Yeah, so that's the feed trough completely full. So we'll leave the rest of the bale there and it can take from that as and when it needs it. So we just need to get some water. So we'll switch over to the John Deere and get the water trailer, fill that up at the well, and then get some water into the water trough. And that's the sheep all sorted for now. We'll use the little John Deere. Ooh. That's really kicking out some black smoke. That definitely wouldn't be very pleasant inside this building. Yeah, we're in desperate need for getting some repair on this, so once we've got a little bit more money, we'll get a maintenance point built somewhere. I think I've got one of the small repair triggers that we can just put inside the shed, so we can get this repaired because it's in desperate need of it. And that is really kicking out some black smoke. So I'll probably do another load of 12-meter trees so we can fill up that next container. And then we'll get that sold. At least then we'll have a little bit of money so we can get this repaired and some of the other equipment then. Okay, so the sheep have now got some water. So they can now start producing wool once their health gets up a little bit. Which shouldn't take too long. So we'll go and drop this back off in the shed. So then what I'll do is get another load of trees cut down. We could also possibly look at loading the oats up, but I think the best price for oats is January. I think that may be a job for next time. I'll just double check the actual current price of oat. It's showing 621 at the sell everything container. And according to the time saving stock check, we are max price is 643, and in January is the max month, so that potentially could go up a little bit more. But currently, if we was to sell, we'd get 8,620 for everything we've got. So we're not far off. We're only like what, 306 less than what we could get for maximum price. But as this is kind of like the first year we're cycling through, those prices may change a little bit once it goes through a full year and it settles the prices out a bit better. So 643 is showing the highest price, but next month that could be like 66, 67. So yeah, next job is to get this 40-foot container filled. And I'm thinking of trying something a little bit different with this one. Just to see how well it works out. So we get those switched on. Just check we are on 9 meters. I'm going to need to leave that on because we're going to have to do the same and keep changing depending on the tree. But what I'm going to try and do is cut the tree and then pretty much try and load it straight away. We can't cut the tree straight into the container, which I tried on Silver and Forest, because I really thought that as it's only like a 40-foot container, it wouldn't let you put anything longer than 40 foot in there. They don't let you put 40 foot or shorter, but yeah, it doesn't quite work like that. It will literally just take the whole tree. Yeah, why did I set it to 9? It's 12 we wanted. Right. I don't think I can drop this tree now to re-pick it back up. Oh no, what I plan to do this time instead is we're going to cut these to 12s just in front of the container. Just need to make sure I don't get too close to the container that I accidentally put the whole tree in there, because it will take the entire tree and then we'll get a reduced cost. So we'll put the 6s over here and keep them separate. And the smaller offcuts we'll just throw into a pile next to those. And then what I'm planning on doing, rather than getting a stack, once we've got them cut at 12 just in front of the container, I can actually come back in with this, as I've done with the previous one as well, and then just feed that straight into there. And there we go. So that may save a little bit of time on loading. May make it a little bit easier as well. We'll still have the 6s to do, but we can do those separate in a smaller container. I was considering changing to 9s, which I think we wouldn't get the 6 meters then. Now the downside to that is we'll be taking less on each container, less wood. We wouldn't be able to fit as much in, and I don't think even if we extended that trailer to its full, I forgot to change the length again. The trouble is now if I press cut it'll cut it at 6, whereas the base game ones, if you change it, it'll continue feeding it through to the new length. So if you've gone 6 meters, it'll then go another 6 to 12, which unfortunately it doesn't do on this one. And so I can't remember the button config to set it to go back to the start, which I did earlier, and I can't remember what I pressed. I don't think that one's quite 6, but we'll just drop it there for now. So that one's a 12, that one can go in there. and then the 6 will just drop with those ones. So yeah, we'll continue filling up this container and we can get this one sold. One more tree should be able to finish filling this container. And then what I think, I kind of like the way it's doing it this way, cutting the tree and then just loading it straight into the container. Seems a much easier way to do it. But obviously we've got that thing where we've still got the 6 meters, so I'm considering doing the next container at 9 meters, which I think we'll get just then the smaller offcut at the top. Because at the moment some of the trees we're getting 212s, which is obviously 24, which then we'd get 2 9s and a 6 meter out of those. But for some of the other trees we're getting 112 and 16 out of quite a lot of them, which would be 18 meters, so we get 2 9s instead, and then the smaller offcut, which we could just throw to one side. So the bigger trees like this will get 2 12s. We should be able to possibly even get 3 9s instead of 2 12s and a 6. Because that one we're getting 2 12s and a 6, which is obviously 30 meters, and then a little bit of an offcut. So 3 9s will be 27 meters, so we'll have a 3 meter and a bit offcut off those. So I think it may be easier doing it this way than just do 9s, so we're not there's more logs we can actually put straight in the container rather than then having to cut separate 6s, which we need to then get another container to load up. So we can just get 9 meter containers. It'll fill a lot quicker. We won't make as much money each trip unless I can find a way to, or a trailer big enough to get 2 9 meter containers on at a time, which will be like 60 foot. Don't think in 50 foot configuration. I think the overhang will be way too much for 2 9 meter containers on this trailer. I don't think this one's an option. Maybe a trailer that can take a 9 meter that's got a hitch on the back that we can then put a second trailer and have 2 9s. So that's 44,000 litres in there. So we'll go and jump in the International. We'll get this one sold. I think then we'll buy a few more sheep. I won't completely fill that pasture, but it would be nice to get a few more. Would help if I drop the spreader off. Yeah, so we'll get that container up to the store. We'll get that sold. I think then I'm going to buy a 9 meter container, 30 foot container then. And I'll probably get that one filled, ready for next time to be sold as well. We'll buy a few more sheep before we do finish off. I just realised I've knocked the wheel loader over at some point. Just caught it with one of the trees. It's a good job there is no actual damage in game. Well, that would have been expensive if we'd damaged the equipment. So yeah, we'll get this sold, which should give us another 35,000, and we'll get the other container purchased. And what I really do need to do as well before we finish off today is actually pay some of the loan, because I keep forgetting to do that. And we are quite far behind on the loan payments, and I really do need to give myself a good penalty as well, because I can't remember the last time I paid it off, or how many episodes I've been now since I've made any loan payments. Okay, so we'll get this one sold. So it's another 44,000 litres of wood. I've got $36,284. So what I'm going to do is I'll get a 9 meter container this time. I'm going to go and do another full load, or possibly 2, because I need to just do a bit more recording to fill out the time-lapse video. And then so once we come back, I may have a little bit more money, and then say we can get a few more sheep and then pay off the loan. Okay, so we're back at the store. I've got a 6-meter container which is 98% full. This one has got some shorter offcuts on, so it's not all 6 meters, so there were a few the wrong size, so that will affect the sell price of this one a little bit. But 18,802 is actually still quite a bit more. I'm just going to check the price of wood because I seem to have sold for a lot more than I was expecting. Let me just check this. Wood. It's above 1,000, which is a little bit more than it was last time, but considering that container wasn't 100% full, it was only 98%, and also there was quite a few logs I put in there that were the wrong size as well. Does seem to have not affected the price that much actually. I wasn't quite expecting to get 18,000. I thought maybe a bit less, but we're not going to complain. I've also done a full 9-meter container as well, so we're up to 74,580. So we'll head back, we'll buy a few more sheep, and then that'll be us finished for today. Okay, so back at the farm, I'll just park this tractor and the trailer up over here. I should have really bought another 9-meter container to bring back with us, but I completely forgot. So we'll go and buy a few more sheep. So we want the Swiss Black Brown Mountain sheep. So we'll select those. So we could get, well, we can get 100 in total in the pasture. We've got 10 currently. That'll take us up to 20. I'm thinking possibly get 15, so that'll take us up to 25, and then we'll just let them reproduce from there. So same with the chickens, it'll be, well, 3 lots of reproduction, so the next reproduction cycle will take us up to 50, and then the one after that will take us up to 75 and then 100. So it shouldn't take too long to fully fill this pasture, and then by then we may have cleared space to build a second one. And then we can transfer some of the sheep from this one over to the new one and free up a bit of space for more new births. So it's going to cost us $8,083. But we're now up to 25 sheep in total. There's our new sheep. Don't think we'll have got any wool just yet. It's going to progress a little bit more time, but they should start producing wool. The next time we'll have our first partial pallet. Feed, they should be okay as well. We will need to top up the water a little bit more, but that can wait. So yeah, I cleared a few more trees around here. I've got one 9-meter log left, so opened up the back of the shed so we can start getting this cleared, and we've got 66,480 left, which should be enough to get the next building in and also get a repair place next time. So before we do just quickly finish, I'm going to pay some of the loan off. So if we go loan, I'm going to pay off 15,000 for the last 3 episodes, 5 for this one, and I think we've missed about 3. So if I say, I said 2,500 for each one. So if I take off another 7,500, that hopefully should bring us a bit in line with our loan payments. So 7,500 fine for the 3 missed payments, possibly maybe 4, but I'd have to go back and check. We'll leave this episode here, so thank you very much for watching. I'm feeling the chicken, oh, they've got 583 litres left. So they're okay, but they will need topping up as well. So we'll leave this episode here. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. And if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do consider subscribing. We've got more Farm Simulator 22 content coming up with this series, and also the live streams as well. So again, hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you again. Goodbye.